Yes, rather uncomfortable.
Yes.
Built in the late 19th century, Civility carried passengers on the Ryde to Newport service behind 4 horses.
The coach was built in Newport by the Chevertons. Understand it was about 1880 or somewhere around then. That was when it was built.
Nick Collis is the great-grandson of coach builder Albert Vanner.
He died at quite a young age of 47, and then my grandfather, George, he took it over and drove it. But obviously, come the First World War, a lot of the horses were commandeered, motor transport was coming in, and obviously the excursion business was no longer viable.
And would this have been typical of the kind of coaches that would have been on the roads on the island in that period?
Yes, although by then there was competition from the railways. In fact, the railways were here before the coach even was commissioned. But one of the interesting things is that you've got 3 windows on each side, and they come down quite low, almost to the seat. That was so the inside, the passengers inside, on a trip around the island, had good views right across the countryside, seeing the whole island.
So how many passengers would be carried in this?
16 on top, rather.
16?
Yes, apparently. And there would have been perhaps, I don't know, six ladies inside with their enormous dresses. So I don't know how they managed to squeeze in, although I suppose people were a little bit smaller in those days.
Well, the introduction of the motor bus service in 1905 signalled the start of the end for the horse-drawn carriage. Civility, however, found a new lease of life.
After the coming of the railways, did excursion traffic.
Richard Newman is trustee of the Isle of Wight Bus and Coach Museum.
We believe a 3-day excursion round the island, staying overnight at coaching inns.
Well, the coach was bequeathed to Audrey Russell at Stenbury Manor near Godshill, where it stayed under the care of English Heritage.
Nick Collis very kindly had made negotiations with English Heritage to ensure that it stays on the island, and particularly in Ryde.
Well, now in its new home, back in Ryde, Civility will be cared for by the museum.
We've got a lot to do to know how to conserve it, really, whether to leave it more or less as it is, cleaned up, or just what to do. So we've got to seek advice on that. But there's a lot of lamps and things like that, the leatherwork, the tackle, that... the only thing we haven't got, of course, is a horse to go with it.
So what about the name, Civility? Well, allegedly, after cutting up the royal coach on its way to Osborne House, Nick's grandfather was summoned to give an account of what happened.
He was told that by the head coachman at Osborne that he must tell his drivers to keep a civil tongue in their heads. My grandfather went away and thought about it and said he would call the coach Civility, and that's how it happened.